Have you ever wondered how big organizations get ready for a major cyber attack? Well, it's not just about buying the latest tech, it's all about practice. Today, we're going to open up the official playbook from the European Union's top cybersecurity agency, ENISA. This is their complete blueprint for running a cyber drill, and it's designed to help pretty much anyone test and toughen up their defenses before it's actually too late.
Just look at this scene. This isn't your average training day. This is a high-stakes dress rehearsal for a real crisis. In a totally controlled, safe environment, teams are getting put through their paces, simulating real attacks to practice how they'd respond, fine-tune their playbooks, and ultimately build that muscle memory.
And that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Planning a full-scale exercise can feel, well, completely overwhelming. You've got stakeholders to manage, tech to set up, scenarios to write, objectives to define. It's a lot. But what if there was a structured way to cut right through all that complexity?
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the fundamental why, the whole reason for doing these drills. Then we'll introduce you to the ENISA framework itself and walk right through its 6 phases, all the way from that first idea to the crucial lessons you learn at the end. And finally, we'll talk about the real prize, building genuine cyber resilience.
Okay, so let's tackle the biggest question first. Why even bother with all this? The thing is, in today's world, a cyber drill isn't some nice-to-have luxury, it's an absolute necessity. It's a fundamental part of any serious defense strategy, because, let's be honest, you're preparing for an attack that is almost certainly coming.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This comes straight from ENISA. They're crystal clear. This is all about preparing, testing, and enhancing. It's a cycle. You're making sure your people, your processes, and your tech are actually ready for prime time. I mean, does your team really know who to call at 3 a.m.? Is that fancy incident response plan you wrote actually going to work under pressure? This is how you find out.
So, to handle all that complexity we talked about, ENISA went and built a complete end-to-end framework. You should really think of it as the ultimate checklist, the definitive guide for anyone tasked with planning one of these exercises. This image perfectly captures the entire life cycle. You can see it's broken down into 6 clear phases: initiation, design, preparation, execution, evaluation, and then moving forward. And notice how it's a loop. It's continuous. Every phase builds on the one before it, taking you from a simple idea all the way to a concrete plan for getting better. Now, here's the best part. What makes this whole thing so powerful and accessible? ENISA gives you a full toolkit of templates. The core idea is basically just fill in the blanks. They've taken this huge, complicated task and broken it down into a series of manageable, structured documents. It just takes all the guesswork out of it. Okay, let's jump into phase 1, initiation. This is where the entire foundation for a successful exercise gets built. And believe me, it all starts with one absolutely critical question.
This is easily the most important step. Before you plan anything, before you even think about a scenario, the framework forces you to define your why. And this isn't just some vague goal, it's your core mission. Are you trying to test out a brand new incident response plan? Are you getting ready for a regulation like NIS2? Or maybe you're just trying to get the security and IT teams to actually talk to each other. Nailing this down ensures everyone is on the same page and bought in from day one.
All right, with that solid foundation in place, we get into the real meat of the planning process. That's phases 2, 3, and 4. This is where your blueprint starts to look like a real rehearsal.
First up is the design phase. This is where you set your SMART objectives. You know, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Then you move into preparation, where you build the actual scenario and get everybody ready. And finally, execution. That's game day, where you press go and put the whole plan into action. Now, a really important decision you have to make early on is what kind of exercise you're going to run. Is it going to be a discussion-based tabletop where everyone sits around a table and just talks through a scenario? That's great for testing policies. Or is it going to be a hands-on, operation-based drill where your tech teams are actually in a simulated environment fighting off threats? The right choice here depends entirely on that why you already defined.
I love this chart because it shows how all the documents are living things. They're not just one-and-done tasks. See how the main exercise plan starts way back in the initiation phase? It gets built upon and refined all the way through to execution. This approach makes sure your planning is always connected to what actually happens, which all gets captured in that final after-action report.
The methodology also has these fantastic safety nets built right in. At the end of each phase, there's a formal go/no-go checkpoint. This is a super important moment where the planners literally go through a checklist to make sure everything is ready before they commit to the next stage. It's designed to stop you from rushing ahead when you're not actually prepared.
And speaking of preparation, the ENISA guide gives a huge piece of pro-tip advice on timing. For any exercise that's worth doing, you need to start planning a minimum of 6 months ahead. 6 months! For a really complex technical drill, it could be even longer. You just can't rush this process if you want to get real value out of it.
Okay, now we're at the part where the real magic happens, the last 2 phases. The exercise itself might be over, everyone's breathing a sigh of relief, but honestly, the most important work is just getting started.
And it all comes together in the after-action report. This document, this is the whole point. It's not just a summary of what happened, it's a tool. It captures all the key findings, gives you strategic recommendations, and lays out a concrete action plan to fix the weaknesses you found. This is how you turn lessons identified into lessons truly learned.
So let's wrap this all up. Why go through all this structured, sometimes difficult work? The payoff is huge, and it's all about building real, genuine resilience in your organization.
So what do you get for all that effort? Well, by using this blueprint, you're not just checking a box. You're proactively hunting for gaps before an attacker does. You're stress testing your response plans in a safe space. You're building those crucial communication bridges between security, IT, legal, and communications. And, really importantly, you're creating a culture of constant improvement while making sure you can meet big compliance rules like NIS2.
In the end, it all boils down to this. We know a major cyber incident isn't a matter of if it will happen, but when. So the only real question you have to ask yourself is this: will your team have practiced for it? When that day comes, will they be working together like a well-oiled machine? Or will they be figuring things out for the very first time, when the stakes are highest? That's what this is all about.